I like to learn some kung fu.
I would love to peel this banana.
Yeah.
All right. Welcome, everyone. This is the Peel This Banana podcast. Your host, Sean, and got a great guest here. He's a cyber Kong, if you will. Goes by the name of Shock. Yeah, today is going to be all NFTs, all metaverse land, all everything that a lot of us don't understand. And what's so cool about Shock is he still doesn't understand everything, but he's one of the few people that I've met that are really diving in all the way. And he has a lot to share, and it's just exciting every single time I talk to him about this stuff, because he's like doing it. He's like walking the walk. It's just exciting. So if you're confused, like the rest of the world is about NFTs, and you want to really learn more, this podcast is going to be the best thing for you. So let's get into it. Shock, thank you for joining me. Really appreciate it, and welcome.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So it was funny. We got on the call real quick and immediately just started talking NFTs, and he just starts diving in, and everything is immediately already interesting. So I guess a good place to start, just kind of baseline, is if you could explain, in your view, Shock, what is even happening with all this stuff? What are you seeing? Like, what does this mean, and what is happening with this whole NFT world, blockchain world, crypto world going on?
Yeah, so much is happening. One of the funny jokes that I hear all the time in the NFT world is like a day in NFT is like a year in normie world, and that's the truth. And I mean, things move so fast, and products are dropping so quick, and you're trying to research and keep up on everything. And not just NFTs, but tokens and games and NFT gaming, and you don't know what's going on. There's so much coming at you every single day. It's like trying to drink, out of a fire hose. You're just hit in the face with so much information that you really have to start narrowing your focus and try to figure out what's going on. But at its core, what's happening is there's a technological revolution that's akin to when the internet first started popping up in the 90s. That's really what it is. The idea of ownership, the idea of participation in Web3 and NFTs and crypto, where we're going, it's moving to like the third evolution of the internet, where the first time the internet, when you logged on, you'd be able to read web pages. And now we're in the second phase of the internet, or we just are ending it, where we'd be able to contribute by social media. You could post videos, you could tweet, you could do that stuff. And now we're moving into the phase of ownership. So I own these things. I own this Ethernet, not Ethernet. Mm-hmm. I own this address. I own this NFT. I own this digital land. I own all these digital things.
Rights.
And now it's becoming partnerships. It's becoming shared ownerships, collaborations, where, if I told you, hey, Adidas is going to work with a bunch of guys who own NFTs, you'd be like, I don't even understand what that means. Why would they even bother? They're Adidas. They can just go create their own thing. And that would have happened in 2 years ago. But now, they're making deals. They're collaborating with big NFT brands. NFTs aren't just pictures. They are brands in themselves. They're objects of desire.
Yep.
And so part of what I was talking to you about is this Kong here, this purple cyber Kong that I have, and how I'm using it as my brand. So I think that's the interesting thing, is I can kind of personalize and tell you how I'm using this NFT and how I'm using it for identity, and maybe just start there.
Please, elaborate on this more, because I think a lot of people still think NFT is just an image. Everyone can just copy paste JPEGs, where it is so much. It has no choice but to revolutionize how we operate in a digital landscape and its integration into real life. Like, it's just changed. It's going to change. So I'm glad that you have this, that you're coming on with even like a cyber Kong. If you could explain what a cyber Kong is, one, and then two, just everything that you're planning on doing by using it as a brand and its integration in real life as well, and how it's not just a JPEG.
Gotcha. Yeah. So, I mean, the right click image, right click save group that gets really, really angry at NFTs. And I don't understand it. I honestly don't understand the hate. I'm like, if you don't like it, don't interact with it. You don't have to do anything. If I want to spend, thousands of dollars on this, that's on me. It's not on you. So you shouldn't be mad. That'd be like me telling you, hey, why'd you buy that car, and get mad at somebody for doing something. It's not my business. So I don't
Yeah.
get the hate, but it's funny because I do see that right click save stuff all the time, and I'm like, well, yeah, I could go take a picture of the Mona Lisa in the Louvre. Actually, I have a picture I took of Mona Lisa from the Louvre. Do I own the Mona Lisa now? No, I just have a picture of the Mona Lisa. You can track who actually owns that, and the NFTs. It's all it is a digital authentication. Authentication.
Yeah.
So the blockchain doesn't allow lies. Whoever owns
Yeah.
it, it's written, and I can verify it and I can track it. It's proven. I have this. I bought this. I can show you the date. I can show you who owned it before me. I can show you who created it, and I can track it back to the beginning of when this entered the blockchain. There's no lying. There's no hiding.
This is so
Um,
crazy.
yeah, I think I told you I was scammed a while back where I had won a contest with this NFT, and this guy posed as me and just on Twitter and didn't clarify his name. He just transposed two letters of my name, used my image, and it looked like me. So he got the NFT. But like I said, there's no line. So what I did is I just went, I found the digital marketplace. I found the NFT by finding all the properties that were associated with this NFT. I found it, found who got transferred to, found who he sold it to, tracked it all back down, and sent it to OpenSea. That took me 5 minutes.
Wow.
5 minutes.
That's
So in 5 minutes, I found out exactly who had it, what he had done with it, and reported it. That easy, because the blockchain does not lie.
yeah. God, if that's not the epitome of why this is revolutionary technology, I don't know what is.
Yeah. So, and that's what's interesting is like you could right click this and say, hey, I own this, but it's not true. I mean, you may have the picture, but I own this, and you can find it in the blockchain. So
Yeah,
that's the
that's a
interesting
big
part.
deal. So what happened with the? Did you get the NFT?
No, I didn't get it back, but I got that guy banned, and I'm not sure what happened with the guy who bought it because I didn't want to screw over that guy. So
Mm.
I don't think it got locked. I didn't ask them to lock the image, but I did get the guy who got it and sold it banned. So hopefully that
This is
results in some
something.
sort of, yeah, something for him. Um, and yeah, we'll see. But the other thing about this is so now that people are using these as profile pics, and we're integrating this idea of a brand and the blockchain, the next step is verification. So I've used this CyberCon here, and I'm building my brand around it. And I use this image in my profile pics. I'm using it in my YouTube video, and I've actually had it animated for my YouTube video, so it looks like he's speaking, which I think is pretty fun. Um,
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
but
if you want to show it too, you can have you can share a screen at any time as well if you want to show anything.
yeah, or maybe I'll just put a link in the podcast or whatever. People can click it if they want.
Well, here, I think it's really cool. I just want to show it
Oh,
real quick.
yeah,
I'm
perfect.
gonna share. I'll share
And
my screen.
yeah,
Can you see
sounds good.
this?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, so this is Shocksmash, everyone who's watching, and this is his video he made with Axie Infinity, which we'll get into. It's an NFT game. It's pretty freaking sweet actually. But check it out. Check out the video. So you see his face moving here. This is him, and I think it's the coolest freaking thing ever, man. I think it's such a genius idea.
Yeah.
Like
So
I think it's freaking genius. It's so cool. That is so cool.
yeah,
How
so
I
that's the
did.
idea is to build this brand. And then you go into, okay, well, if we're building the brand, how do we get it so that the right click savers aren't trying to pose as me or to use my brand and corrupt it? And it's through verification. And Twitter has already announced that they'll be doing verification. I would imagine that Instagram is too. So just like a celebrity gets vetted and they get their little blue check mark next to their name so that you know it's the real celebrity and not somebody else, or like brands like Nike have a blue check, all of
Hmm.
these NFTs will start getting blue checks. So the people that are posing or pretending that they have these NFTs will, they'll get called out, and
Yeah.
all these like fake accounts will disappear. But it takes time. Like I said, we're so new and everything is so fresh that this is coming so fast. It's
Yeah.
amazing
The
that Twitter is even jumping on this and even going to verify the NFTs. So it's really really cool.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. Like you said, no lying, because what people don't understand is the current economic system we live in with the fiat currency. all of it is almost all lies.
Yeah.
So to have another financial system come into place where it like really takes away how many lies you can inject into the system is a big revolutionary idea in itself. It has just more truth built into it. It's exciting, really.
Yeah, and that's not to say there aren't scammers out there, because this is like
Oh,
the wild
definitely.
wild
Right.
west, and there's tons of scammers, and people will put out meme tokens, and they'll put out these
Yep.
things to try
Pump
to
and
get
dump
a bit of,
things.
pump and dumps. And I try to stay away from that and just focus on a few core NFTs that I've gotten into. I went way too crazy and bought tons and tons of NFTs, and I got in when there was really a bull run, and it was just everything was making money hand over fist. And then we entered the bear market and things slowed down. That really showed me that I need to be very careful and really focus on good brands, good communities, and with people that really want to work together. So like the CyberKongs, the Subducks, I'm involved in a few different communities. Bears Deluxe is another one that's been a ton of fun to get involved with. But yeah, I have like 5, I would say, that are really, really solid, that I have no fear that they're going to go back up. And then I have some
Mhm.
others that are probably absolutely dead.
So, yeah, if you can go into a little more detail about that, what makes it a dead NFT? Talk about your process of like, all right, I'm just gonna dive right into this pool. I'm gonna throw money everywhere and learn what sticks. Because I mean, that's a very visceral, tangible experience you had to go into that landscape. It's pretty
Yeah.
brave too, actually. Like I didn't have the guts to do that shit.
Oh yeah. It's expensive. It is expensive. And so I've met a few people in each community. Actually, I've met a lot of people in each community. And especially in like the CyberKongs community, they have an alpha channel called Wall Street Kongs, and they are the most knowledgeable group of people I've ever come across when it comes to NFTs and what's coming out. We get a good chance, a good look at a lot of the whitelists early, so we can see what the product's about. We get to see a lot of, we can win raffle spots, and we can just get in there and talk about the projects, talk about the teams who are working the projects, and kind of build from there. A couple people, well, this is the hard part, is like you can go in and get in on a minting phase of an NFT and really jump in and start from the ground up, or you can wait until they kind of establish themselves. And I think that's a gamble you have to play with your money and with each project. So you want to do your research, and you want to make sure, because I mean, when I first jumped in, I bought 3 NFTs because I thought they looked cool, and the communities were just starting and they absolutely died on me. I mean, I lost money and those projects are dead. The community dried up, nobody can participated, and now it's just a dead NFT. The only saving grace I would say of that is I could take that NFT and plug it into another game or do something else with it. I own it no matter what, even if there's no community to support it and there's no projects being built by the person who created this NFT is still mine. So
Yeah, right.
there's a game in the future, say there's like a Call of Duty game that goes, hey, instead of doing like a Call of Duty camo or whatever, you can plug in whatever NFT character you want in there. I could use that dead project. So it's not completely worthless. It's just
Mhm.
the person who created it dropped the ball, or what they call rug dust, like a rug, which means they pulled the rug out from under us and they just were there to get a quick buck and leave. And that
Mm.
happens. There are some people who do that. It's unfortunate because it really does hurt the community and it makes people distrustful. But the like I said, the once you find a community like the Kongs here, I think they're one of the most respected brands in all of the NFTs. I think you probably have like the top 3, I'd say, were the punks, cyberpunks, of course, or not cyber, yeah, the punks, cyberkongs, and um, Bored Ape Yacht Club. Those are
Yeah.
probably the 3 most well-known and most well-respected NFT communities out there. And I think that's interesting because there are people in these groups who are just absolute whales. They have tons of money, tons of resources. They're very good at picking projects. They're very good at sharing alpha and helping out communities. And that's really helpful when you talk to these people and you meet up with them, and even in just in chats, or you watch their YouTube videos, you learn so much and you realize how little you know. That to me is I'm learning so much every day, but it's just I'm scratching the surface and coming in, and it's just it feels like I've been here for decades, but it's just I haven't. I started on this really in June of this year, and it's been 6 months, and
Oh wow.
it's been
Yeah,
a
wow.
wild ride.
It's a gold rush, like just
Yeah,
yeah. You probably feel like it's a whitewater rafting river thing.
yeah,
Just trying to freaking.
and that's the other thing is like
Oh.
oh, hold on. That's the other thing is that some of these people got in 6 months, a year ago, and we have to be really careful who you follow. You have to be really careful who you listen to, because some of the people that got in just got lucky in timing. And I'll talk to some of these like big brains, or you listen to some of these guys like Nate Rivers or Elio, and you listen to those guys, and they're so smart and they're so sharp. You can tell these guys actually do the research. They're financial guys. They understand the economics behind it. And they're not just jumping in because it's a cool picture or they're because of the hype. They're paying attention to a lot of stuff. And some of the people that made millions and millions of dollars just happened to get in at the right time. So you want to really make sure that you do your own research, as they say, and focus on good communities that are not trying to just get a buck and run. Look for some established communities. Look for people who are trying to build long-term and who are capable of doing it.
And going into a little more detail of that, what have you found? Because like you said, you dove in, you found communities that ended up dying off, you found communities that stick around. What are the differences that you notice in that? Like, what are the things that are happening that someone can look at and be like, okay, this is a green flag on communities. This is like a red flag on communities. What are some of the specifics that you're noticing with that?
Yeah, I think one of the big ones is to see how active they are. So I check their Twitter, I check their Discord, I check their website, I check everything before I buy on OpenSea, or hopefully in the future, Coinbase, whatever the new projects or the new marketplace will be. But I check all their social media stuff. I check their Discord, and you have to be careful because people can inflate their numbers. One of those ones that I told you I got into and it died had over 60,000 people in its Discord, and they were active all the time. But what I found out is they were just flippers. So they were people who would just talk in order to look like they were contributing, and they were just waiting for the time to buy and sell, and that's it. So what you want to look for are people who are holding. If you follow the social media, and then you go to their OpenSea and you look at their marketplace, you can see how many owners they have, how many unique owners, how many are on the marketplace themselves. If you have a project with 1,000, I'm just going to use 1,000 because it's easy. If you have a marketplace with 1,000 or if you have a product with 1,000 NFTs and 80% of them are up for sale, that's not good. You want to be careful of that. If you have a product that's up and 30% are up for sale, that's good. That's a good sign. That means that you have a community of holders, and you can see that they're not just active on Twitter to say stupid stuff, but they actually contribute and they're helping each other. That's where you really start to see communities that are helping, building, and working towards something, and not just a group of people who are looking to flip for profit.
Gotcha. So like, for instance, if I'm on OpenSea, what would I type in and look at to determine those market statistics?
So go ahead and go to type something in here. Let's see what we get. Like you can type in a cyberkongs, or if you can't find it, you can always just go to Twitter, type in a cyberkong. I actually, once I set those, because OpenSea has a bunch of people who will pretend to be something else, you have to really watch them. They're really, really tricky.
So you'd go to Twitter like this, like cyberkongs with the blue check?
Yep. Check those guys, and then you can open up cyberkongs.com.
Okay.
And then click on their OpenSea link at the top. So it's a little ship, one over. Yep. So then that's also other things. I like to make sure that all this stuff lines up. All these pages look right. All this stuff looks right. Make sure that, because anybody can link to a social media page. So you want to really go through every link, make sure everything takes you to the correct address, that everything looks legit. But yeah,
Mm,
so this was a cool. I think that was a charity auction that just happened, which is cool. But look at that, 185 ETH.
Jesus.
That's a legendary, yeah, legendary cybercoin right there.
Wow, it's like
Yeah, it's, yeah,
740,000. Jesus.
yeah. And that
So
thing
okay,
generated.
this
Okay, so yeah,
go ahead.
okay, so this is the VX, which is fine. So if you click on,
Oh, the VX is like the new,
oh
more
yeah, so
3D.
this is the thing I was telling you about the VX that goes into the sandbox. This is the image that goes into the metaverse.
Oh. So these characters here, these NFTs, will end up becoming avatars you can use within.
The sandbox, yeah, or something else. Whatever metaverse you join, you should be able to put these guys in.
So I guess explain what a metaverse is in the best of your ability.
The metaverse is a digital landscape. It's a digital world um, comprised of pieces of land, digital pieces of land that are individually owned. And you can do something with them or you can do nothing with them. And it depends on what you want to do. But um, oh man, yeah, sorry, I'm pulling this up, but the website's just loading so slow for me. But
Yeah.
yeah, so the metaverse, you'll have a bunch of land and it joins together into a world that you can interact with. So you can build out a gigantic city of 64 grids. Like Decentraland's one of the most popular ones, but look at Sandbox. That's one that probably is getting the biggest um, push just because of how big it is and how cool it is. It looks a lot like um, Minecraft, and it has kind of like it's fairly easy to build like you do with Minecraft. I've been building out my piece of land, and it's pretty dang amazing. Um, yeah, I'm sure the VR will be coming soon.
I don't know what the actual website is. I'm kind of just guessing right now.
Oh, yeah, just go back. So this is just Sandbox VR, but just go back to the Sandbox.
Is it the sandbox?
Yeah, so let's see what it says
It's
here.
probably not it.
Nope. All right, Sandbox. So yeah, just click on So click on that. Let's see what that says. That top link for Twitter.
Just the Twitter one?
Yeah, because they'll have some images of what they're working on. So those are so if you look at their banner right there, you can see some of their like partnerships that they have. But yeah, look, so this is us. Click on that, and you can walk around. You can see some of the stuff they're building. But I mean, it's going to be. There's a CyberCon right there. That's going to
Yeah.
be absolutely amazing. You're just gonna. The worlds are growing, and you can interact with people. You can interact with these. Different brands. You have all this different land and experiences and mini games, casinos. Snoop Dogg is building out his whole, like he has a massive
Yes.
whole experience going on that he's building. Um, and that's it. And you can make money off it. You can be a landowner and you can rent out your land. You can just build something on your land and have people interact with, and you will get money from what they interact with. Or you can just build out a spot of interest that people can go and hang out in, and it's totally up to you. It's just the world is growing and going to be, I mean, I think what people want to make it to akin to is like, a Ready Player One, where you're in this digital world where it becomes
Right.
almost as real as the real world. And obviously it's not like graphically realistic, but the ability to get in and interact and engage and do something is going to be absolutely amazing.
Wow. Interesting. So, geez. So here I am. If I wanted to buy land, where would I go?
Um, you should. Where's their marketplace here? There's a place to buy here land. So there you go. Land right there. NFT lands. Scroll up. And if you
Over
just
there.
type,
Okay, here we
yep.
go.
So those are plots of land. So if you click on one of these, yeah, yeah. Luckily, I snagged mine before the huge pump, so I was pretty happy about that. The only bummer is I only grabbed one piece of land, and I should have grabbed more. But um, I
How
haven't
much did
sold
you
it
pay?
yet. So I paid point point four, 0.3 ETH at the time, which was the equivalent of like $1,400 at the time.
Yeah, right.
And
And how much
then
is it?
right now it said like that is he's got an offer of 2.8 and he hasn't taken it. So like I got an offer of three or 3.3 last week and I didn't take it, which is roughly
Wow,
about
dude. It's
15,000.
like 10 grand. So you spend $1,400 essentially, and the land is already worth,
15,000.
15,000. That's
Yeah.
freaking nuts.
Yeah. And I didn't sell it either. I didn't sell it because I'm
I
building
think that was
something.
a good choice.
Yeah, so I have something I'm building, and and that's just a one spot. So you see that little yellowish orange? Yeah, that's a 1 by 1
That's
plot.
Yep,
And I
that's the
got in there and
digital.
I've been building, and it's pretty dang big. But now look down. See that image right there of that CyberCon you're looking at?
Yep.
That's a massive plot, right? That's one
Yep.
guy. He owns that entire plot. You go to the
Wow.
left, that Beast Quest. Beast Quest owns that entire plot. Those are massive pieces of land where they're going to build, like if you can imagine an entire city or a theme park where maybe I have like say my plot of land is a park, right? That's about the equivalent. It's about a city park, and I can go up and down. I can go underground, and it's pretty big, maybe a city block even. Um,
Mhm.
and then you look over and you go, well, that's a city block, but now this is an entire city, or this is a theme park. This is like, a park down the street compared to Disneyland, and then compare
Yeah, right.
Disneyland to Disney World, and then compare Disney World to Orlando, Florida, and then compare Orlando, Florida to Florida. You know what I mean? And that's the scale of how big these things are getting. And it's just absolutely insane what you can do with it.
Wow. So it raises a whole bunch of questions because it's like, how does the value hold in these plots of land? Because if it's digital, I mean, the creators can go in and like start messing with the dimensions of each plot size, right? Is that locked
No,
in?
no, that's
That can't
locked
be
in.
good.
Can't be
Okay, that's what I
changed.
was.
Yep. So
Cool.
it's on the blockchain. That's it. It's locked in. Um, and you can go down and see what's crazy is if you go down and look at, well, those are all his offers, but keep going down. So you can see, like we could click on any of these and see where it got started. So that's the mint. So click on that little arrow.
That
We
one?
can go in and yeah. So let's check this out. So 371 days ago, scroll down. Let's take a look at how much that's how much he paid for it.
So he paid, that's the total price right there?
Yeah, pretty much. That's the Ethereum price at the time. So he paid less than that.
Oh, I see. Oh, wow. Yeah.
So
Wow.
that's his gas fee, which is nothing. And that's his mint fee right there. It looks like, right, is the transaction fee. So yeah, he paid probably less than $100. The first person who minted that.
Wow, how nuts is that? From
So
less than
that's
100 to 10, $11,000.
that's what I was talking about. I just wanted to circle this back to people who hold. Um, Obviously, the longer you hold, the more you can hold, the more your community holds and talks about growth and talks about things, and they've been around for over a year. This is where you start to get in with groups like that. When you're joining a group that's just starting off, it's you have to be a little hesitant and you have to really do your research and see if they're going to be in it for the long term. So are they all holding? If you get in, and a lot of them are not on the marketplace, that's a good sign. And you want to make sure that uh, they're active in their community, but their community is not just talking about the floor price. They're not doing collaborated pump and dumps, and they're actually there to help each other. Like one of the coolest things I saw, I'll tell you, is in the SupDuck community. There was a guy who accidentally fat fingered his SupDuck and put it on for sale for something like point one ETH instead of no, it wasn't that. It was at the time it was pretty high. So it was like he sold it for point 0.3 ETH instead of 3 ETH, right? Which is a huge difference.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like a $10,000 difference. And one of the other SupDuck community members actually had bought it, and then he gave it back to them.
Oh, wow.
he gave it back to them for just like, I think the other guy paid him the gas fees that he paid to transfer it back. But how cool is that? That's what I'm talking about with community. If you're in a community that recognizes that you screwed up and then will give that back to you, that's a solid community. That is somebody who's not just in it for themselves, because that guy could have made easily $10,000 profit, just easy.
Yeah.
So he
Easy.
turned
Yep.
down 10 grand to help out his fellow Subduck. And that, to me, when I got in, that's how I knew I was in a solid community. And Subduck was actually my first really big community like that. And I loved those guys. And I discovered CyberKongs through them, and really liked the, fell in love with the CyberKongs community. So both of those two communities, I try to keep up with as much as I possibly can. And just that's hard. Just keeping up and being active in Discord and on Twitter and everything else with those guys is tough, because they're so active. But you want that. You want a community that is solid. And like I said, those two communities and the Bears Deluxe community, that's fairly new, but they are really, really a great group of people. Those three are amazing. And that's what you're looking for. You're looking for a community who's actually there to help you, to show alpha, to talk about stuff, and just work through it as a group, not just a bunch of people who are buying in to immediately flip for profit. And I'm not saying we aren't chasing profit. Of course we are.
Right.
But there are different ways
doing
of
it
chasing
together
profit.
as opposed to
Right. You're just not buying to
dollar.
flip and sell. Yeah. And that's what you have to watch out for, those pumpers and dumpers. What I've found is a good rule of thumb is if you can buy 3 NFTs, if you can buy 3 NFTs of the group, it's pretty solid, because the first one you sell, when you double, if it doubles, you sell that one, and then you can make your money back, and then you're just kind of riding profit. And then you sell the second one when you what I think the rule is 2x, 4x, 10x if you have it, or like 2x, 5x, something like that. But the idea is that you cover your expenses, you make a good deal of profit, and then your last one you hang on to just forever, unless it reaches something stupid and you want to sell it for I've seen people turn down $1 million offers on punks.
Jesus. I mean, okay, so that raises a question in terms of value. So even some of the NFTs that you have now that are dead, do you think over time they'll actually kind of have some weird value that happens because of their age? So it's like, imagine if you had still like I don't know how to relate this to, but just like how collectibles, right? Like something from the 40s or 50s, like an old toy or something like that. Do you think these original or old NFTs, even though the community is dead, the NFT is dead, like it's not doing much? And you mentioned using it as utility in terms of like avatars, other things, but imagine none of that, just the fact that it's old and was there at the beginning phases of it. Does that have built-in value at all?
It could. I think it depends on art, the art style, and who it appeals to. Like anything with art, you look back at something.
There's a million paintings from the 20s, but not all of them are worth anything. It's
Right.
something similar. Gotcha.
Or even a thing where certain artists, they'll go through 100 years after they're dead, and their stuff is maybe worth $1,000, $2,000, and then all of a sudden somebody pays $1 million for one of their paintings, and then that jumps up the entire all their entire market. So now all their paintings are jumping up and going crazy because somebody paid $1 million. So value is whatever somebody's willing to pay for it. So say there was a collector, say there was somebody who's like, you know what, I'm going to go collect all these dumb dead NFT projects, and I'm going to make a massive game about them. And he starts buying them up, right, at maybe an ETH a piece, just because they're a whale. And yeah, then the value of all those things goes up, and they have a value now. So yeah, I don't think it's outside the realm of possibility. It just depends on what we can do with it, and if somebody wants it. And I think that's the other thing, is we're so early into this that we don't even know what's entirely possible.
Yeah, I agree. One of the things that I'm trying to keep track of is what crypto or whatever is going to be the thing that real companies use for faster payment transactions. I forget the it's an actual term to this, but like they reconcile like the payments. Like now you do a bank transfer, or like if you had to pay $100,000 for something, you had to do a money wire at the bank. You got to wait like almost a week because they got to verify and all this like crap, or you got to send it at like $10,000 at a time, like chunk it out.
Yep.
I want to know who the hell is gonna is speed up that whole process, because that's the real utility in terms of like trying to bridge this NFT metaverse landscape into how it affects the real world. Imagine you buy your property, your house, using either a crypto coin or whatever, and then it's just like the money transfers are faster, everything is just faster. Or I mean, people are already doing it now where they're selling NFTs online, but imagine you can sell like physical goods. You imagine Amazon transferring over entirely to a blockchain, and all the transactions are just now like, okay, we're good, the transfer's happened. You don't got to wait to see it in your bank. Or like Venmos and Cash App. I don't use Cash App, but I think Cash App might be faster. But like, you got to kind of wait for the shit to process. You know what I mean?
For sure. Yeah, we
Whereas I
were
feel like
talking
the
about that.
blockchain is going to be able to just, you could just do it. You don't got to do any of that anymore.
Yeah, and the only thing holding back the US anyway is the US. That's honestly it. It's the taxes, it's the laws that we have against this, it's the money laundering, the anti-fraud stuff they're worried about. It's the fact that, the old traditional banks aren't getting money and they want their cut. So the government wants their cut. There's a lot, but I'll take you over to the Philippines. You go to the Philippines and go back to SLP that you earn from playing Axie Infinity, which is what that first video I did is about. So Axie Infinity, you earn an in-game token called SLP. Well, it's become such a part of the infrastructure inside the Philippines where they didn't have any taxes on crypto. The government actually recognized that they were getting way too much money sent in through this crypto and they started taxing it. But ignore that. The really cool part is I could take in my SLP and I can go to the grocery store and the grocer takes SLP. So I don't have to pay cash. I can go buy a car for, I think it's like 17,000 or 100. I don't remember what it is, but it's like 70. Let's just say 17,000 SLP for a car in the Philippines. I can do that right now.
Wow. So SLP is, what is SLP? Smooth Love Potion price?
Yeah, that's it. So it's basically what a token. So this is the funny thing is this is a token that's used to breed axes. And that's why it's called Smooth Love Potion, is you breed axes together to make more axes. It's down right now. It's been up and down as more utility gets figured out and things, burn mechanics get in place. It's probably going to jump. Like I can't imagine this staying like this for long, but it's just the kind of the way the market and the evolution is flowing. But that doesn't matter. The interesting part of this is you can take this and use SLP to buy. And you're going, well, why can't we do that here in the US?
Apple.
Oh yeah, you go into the grocery store, you buy groceries, pay with SLP. I can seriously buy a car with this. It's no joke. But look at America and you go, hey, Tesla allows you to buy a Tesla with a Bitcoin. Well, I'm not going to do that. I have to pay. You have to pay gains on that, so I have to pay taxes on that. The capital gains tax when you sell crypto means you're going to pay an extra 15 to 30%. So why on earth would I do that? I would just hold my crypto and then just go use fiat, use regular cash to go do that, because it makes no sense, because I'm not going to pay 15 to 30% tax on top of that price. So that's what's holding us back, is capital gains tax is holding us back right now from using crypto as an everyday exchange when you're talking about buying real world goods. Now there are trends. There are companies like Circle. Circle is a big one that takes your crypto, converts it into USDC, and uses that USDC purchase so that you don't get that capital gains tax. And that's really a workaround right now. Honestly, if like what I'm doing, so I'm doing a project right now where I'm bridging, the real world and cyber space in the metaverse. And I'm trying to sort this exact problem of how I can allow people to just transfer crypto to get real goods without having to pay those capital gains, and that's a tough spot, and that's really what's holding us back here.
Interesting. So if I can understand this, grocery store owner, or make it simpler, at a God dang, what are those called? Farmer's market. I got a bunch of apples. When I sell the apple to you for SLP or a crypto coin, I'm taking, say I sold it to you for it would, however much an SLP would be worth as a dollar. The seller has to then pay 30% for that transaction again on top of it, right? That's what you're telling me.
Well, no. What would happen is, so in the US, so it's different too. Like, there are a couple different aspects to this. One, SLP is on its own L2 chain. So Axie Infinity has their own kind of blockchain within themselves. So if I was to transfer SLP to you and you wanted to transfer something to me, there's no charge there. There's just a minor gas fee that we have to pay.
Yep.
And that's it. There's no, and honestly, they're just rolling that out. Up to then, there have been 100 free trades per month. So we wouldn't even have to pay anything until we pass that 100 trademark. Now, if you want to take that SLP and convert it into USD or Ethereum, that's where you play the actual Ethereum blockchain. So that's where it becomes difficult. And then you want to take and use that, it gets taxed. I don't know exactly how the taxes work in the Philippines with that, but I don't think they have the capital gains, which we do in America, which is what's killing us. So we wouldn't want to do that. The only way we could solve that in the US is to build our own sort of chain that doesn't go out and convert to cash. So that would mean that Tesla would have to have its own like L2 blockchain where they would say it's not Bitcoin, it's wrapped Bitcoin, or it's Tesla wrapped Bitcoin, whatever they do, and they'd have their own version of a token that can be buy and sold and traded there without having to actually convert it back to ETH. I don't know. That's a lot, man. Like I said, this world it's crazy, and it takes a lot to kind of find the
It's
nuances.
definitely a wild west because we're so used to just dollars. The United States dollar that's it. That's the only thing we need. That's the only thing we work with. Whereas I think the hard part to connect for everyone is NFT land, all that's crypto land. All these coins are basically dollars. Like it's another currency in and of itself, and you're basically trying to figure out which one is going to be the reserve currency, essentially, which is what Bitcoin has kind of established itself as. Am I accurate in saying that?
Yeah. I think the best thing I've heard is Bitcoin is like gold and Ethereum is like oil. So what can you do with gold? Well, you have a bar of gold and you can sell it. I guess you can make jewelry into it, gold coins, right? But basically that's it. What can you do with oil? You can make gasoline, petroleum, plastics. You can do a million different things with oil and oil byproducts. So it's used daily, every day, hundreds of different industries across the globe where gold is still gold. So yeah, that's a good analogy or good difference, I guess, between the two. Yeah. One is a hold as a reserve you'd hold, and one is actual functioning.
Totally, yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty. I'm trying to dump as much money as I can into Ethereum, honestly.
Yeah. I try to every time it dumps, I try to get a little bit more, but my trouble is I spend it.
Yeah, well, that's the thing.
That's the thing. Don't spend it because I spend it. I buy more NFTs. I buy more tokens. I buy land, or whatever else I can do with it. I do it, and that's where you have to be careful.
So with the land, I had a question back all the way to the land thing. I'll try and make it quick. It said someone minted the land. How are they minting land? How are they minting land in something that is already pre-established?
So it wasn't established at that time. So when they released it, they were releasing these plots of land, and the idea was that people could mint them and hold them. And it's a different way of doing things. So you can mint your NFT, your land, whatever. You can mint these NFTs, or you can just throw them up on the blockchain and just throw them up and get it, have them just be up for sale immediately. And then you have to work through OpenSea, and then there's some minting there, and the process is different. Most things that are not like traditional art, like, so say if we were going to take a photo and we wanted to sell the photo as an NFT, we wouldn't have anybody, we probably wouldn't mint that, we probably wouldn't hide that or do a big reveal on that. We'd probably just post it and work through OpenSea to get it on the blockchain and mint it, or whatever the marketplace was at the time. That's what I've seen. At least that's what I've seen, is that typically those don't, like one-offs don't do minting. But if you had, like, say 1,000 or 5,000 or 10,000 NFTs that were all going to be generated and have random differences, you might want to, well, you'd probably mint them, because the reveal process is big. That's a huge thing, is the reveal. So you buy these sight unseen, or you mint these sight unseen, I should say.
Gotcha. So minting, maybe I'm misunderstanding minting. Minting isn't just you're essentially creating it and it's now like in the blockchain itself. It's like, poof, here goes, it exists. Am I misunderstanding that?
No, that's it. And then there's a way that the creators hold back the final metadata until the reveal is done. And that I don't, yeah, that's the part I'm not 100% sure on, because I haven't done that process yet.
So they kind of make it like the NFT is made, it's loaded partially onto the blockchain, but then there's an element to it that's kept until the reveal, kind of like as almost as if you'd schedule a YouTube release, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, except for they don't know. So if they're a good company and they're not trying to screw you, they don't know what it is either. Everything should be completely random. So the reveal is big because, nobody knows what you're going to get. And there's always legendaries. There's always these one-offs that, are going to be 10, 50 times worth more than the average one you're going to get. So that's the big push, is people want that rare card. It's like when you open a deck of cards and you didn't know exactly what you were going to get, but you have that deck of cards, right? You bought the pack is there, you own that pack. And now it's like, okay, what am I going to get on the reveal? And you open the pack and you go, I've got a bunch of common cards. Crap. Or you go, holy crap, I got the hologram. This thing is worth, $1,000. It's just like that, but it's on the blockchain. I think that's probably the easiest way I could represent it, because I don't know all the technical aspects of it yet. Again, there's so much to research, and I learn a lot by doing, and I haven't done that yet.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I think the card analogy is pretty good.
So if you could explain, I wanted to go back to Axie Infinity, because what you're doing with that is just, it's one of the coolest freaking things I've ever heard of. So if you could share a little bit about what you've been doing with Axie Infinity, we'll segue, also connect it back to you're talking about the Philippines Smooth Love Potion. So hopefully that segue makes sense when watching this back. Yeah, and I can go into more detail on that. I'm working, like I said, I have two more videos coming out that's going to cover Axie Infinity, but it's such a massive topic. I'll try to keep this just brief, but Axie Infinity is it is the best known, most popular, best developed NFT game out there. And it allows you to take these little Axies, these little like Pokemon-like characters, and you play the game with them. There's a PvE mode and a PvP mode, but the cool aspect of this is that you own that Axie. You can buy it, you can sell it, you can trade it, you can breed it, you can play with it, and it's all yours. And that's one part. The second part is you earn SLP from this, and SLP has a real world value. So you not only own this, but you are generating income from this. And you can make $10 a day or more. And in places like the Philippines, the average daily income is $5 to $10 for a regular worker. So when you're looking at that and you're comparing, well, I could play 3 to 4 hours a day of a video game and make as much as I could going out and working like a construction job. I mean, it's a no-brainer for the younger generations or unemployed people or people who are older. There's a lot of older people playing too, or retired. And that's great.
So Axie is really revolutionizing the Philippines, Vietnam, some places in South America by giving them an access to a source of income that it's completely unheard of up until a year ago, really.
Yeah, wow. Wow. Yeah, it's so nuts. And then and so you have your Axie you have your team of Axies essentially. If you could talk about just a little bit about how you have like a team of people, kind of like a little business essentially playing the game.
Yeah, so one of the big things about Axies is you can only have 3 per team. And somebody, I can't remember if it was AK or if it was Chief. I can't remember which guy it was, but one of these guys who was one of the original Axie players, still one of the best in the world, they came out and said, well, maybe I can just loan these to a different team or to a different person because I own them. The blockchain knows I own them, but I can set up an account that lets them use this, and they can use my team and we'll split the profits. And so that's what they did. It actually worked. And it was revolutionary because once people saw this, they said, holy crap, there's so much money to be made by sharing NFTs and working towards a common goal of getting better, growing the community, and earning money while doing it. And that's exactly what they did. They started growing these scholar teams. I mean, I have 10 scholars. I've been up to 12. I had to let one person go because they were cheating, which again, so this is the danger is, those actually could be banned if somebody finds out they were cheating. Then I had another scholar leave. She made so much money that she was able to buy her own team. And she's amazing. I knew it was going to happen because she's an amazing player. She's already like in the top 5,000 now.
Wow.
Which doesn't sound that high, but they're over 1 million players.
Yeah, exactly.
So
When you're talking millions of people.
Yeah, she's crushing it. So,
Crazy.
she made her own team. That's the dream. A lot of the people will work for a certain amount of time playing your game. They'll buy their own team and then they'll start their own scholar accounts. And I'm a small player in this. Some of the guys I know through AxieCongs, so they're a combination. This is what's also cool is once you start to see your communities come together and they're invested in both, it's an easy no-brainer way of going, oh, I'll get involved in that community too. So the CyberCongs are huge in Axie Infinity. They're very deeply invested. Some of the best players, some of the largest landowners, some of the biggest mystic owners, which are like the legendary Axies, are in CyberCongs. So you see these two worlds collide. But anyway, I talked to a lot of the people in AxieCon, and I was blown away because I thought 100 scholars, 500 scholars will be a lot. Some of these guys have over 1,000 scholars. And
Wow.
it has become a thing where the scholars become managers. And it's a really cool system where you bring in, so say I bring in, like in my way, I'll bring in 10 scholars. One of those guys is really ambitious and goes, hey, I really want to bring in my own people and I'll manage them and I'll take a cut of their cut. And then I said, oh, sure, that eases my burden. So my team can continue to grow. My percentage lessens of what I get, but I'm getting so many more people and I'm less hands-on that
Yep.
some of these guys are at a state where they don't even interact anymore. All their managers are doing it. And it's an ultimate goal of, you can make a lot of money just by helping people. And it's a good split. If you're an honest person and you're doing a solid split and you're not trying to cheat them, you can make a good amount and have long-term success.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, there's a lot to talk about. Actually, could be a whole podcast on it.
Oh, I'm sure.
And I'm sorry, I'm all over the place here. It's just I get so excited about all this stuff because there's so many potential. Like the potential is unlimited, and the possibilities are just insane. But I'll end with one final thought on this because I saw this the other day and I thought it was really funny. And it was Bill Gates on David Letterman, and it was a clip from the early 90s. And David Letterman looks at Bill Gates and he's like, yeah, I heard that you're broadcasting a baseball game on the internet. And Bill Gates was like, yep, we did. And David Letterman goes, haven't you ever heard of the radio? And that right there shows you how early they were, right? Where he had no comprehension or understanding of what the internet could be or how revolutionary it is now 20 years later. So we are in that phase of NFTs, of Web3, of crypto, of digital ownership. We're in that phase of people going, duh, haven't you ever heard of, this? And
Yeah,
that's where
right.
we're at.
Yep. Wow. You're totally right. That is mind blowing. Yeah. I've always thought of this new Web3 thing as kind of like you could tell me if I'm thinking about this incorrectly. It's an analogy I use to try and understand it myself, but it's kind of like a Pokemon where like, internet first came out, it was Charmander, Web 2.0, in social media, it's Charmeleon. And now like Web 3.0, it's like, okay, it's coming into Charizard. Like it's got wings now, it's going to be able to fly. Like it's just going to hold like another evolution of it. It's still the same thing, but it's like an evolution of it. And it's got more abilities and all this other shit it can do. Is that a fairly accurate way of thinking about it?
Yeah. Yeah, except for like if you were to say like Charmander wasn't owned by you and you could only look at Charmander. And then you could, move Charmeleon around and interact with him, but you didn't really do anything else. But Charizard is actually owned by you, controlled by you, designed by you. That is probably the evolution of it. Yeah.
So nutty, so nutty. It's hard to think about what it's hard because there's so many questions. The whole thing is just questions. So it's hard to like get it. But I think that was
there's so much, but yeah. And that's what we should do is, save them up, man. I mean, we can talk about this later. I'll bring you on the YouTube, or I'll come back in on the podcast, help you out. Whatever you want to do, just write down your questions because there's so much.
This is
so
super
much
fun to talk about. There's so much to go into, and it's I'd like to thank you for coming on, Shock. Like this is awesome. I really appreciate you coming on talking. This stuff is very exciting. I love learning and hearing about it. I could listen to you talk all day. Like we just keep going. And I also want to say, like, I have a tremendous amount of respect for you as someone who is just walking the walk and doing these things. You're diving in. Like this stuff we didn't really get into the emotional aspects of that in terms of like dealing with FOMO, dealing with how much money you're putting in and dealing with the ups and downs of that, which hopefully we can get into it another time. But like, I appreciate you coming on and talking about this, and it's just, yeah, thank you.
Yeah, for sure, man. Let me know. We'll do another session, and write down any questions.
Hopefully, we get your Kong to work. That would be so freaking cool to watch him just talk. It'd be so cool. I got to figure that out. But dude, thank you for joining the Peel This Banana podcast. Have a good rest of your day. Have a good weekend, and appreciate it, man.
All right, you too. Talk to you soon.
All right, see you.
Bye.